Now we're ready to start working on the rest of this 2D ad. Now we'll start with the background image. I'm going to turn the bottle off for a moment, and you'll see that there's an image back here with some grass and a tree in the sky. So we're going to open that file up. So if you're in Bridge or if you want the file open, you're looking for ciderland.jpg, and we'll open that up. Now if we were to go to image size, Command Option I, or image size, you'll see that our file is 6.5-ish by 3.5-ish, and it's 300 dpi. But if we look at the final destination of this, it really needs to be at least 6.5 inches high. So we'll go in and we'll kind of walk this up a bit under image size. I'm going to make sure that I've got resample selected and preserve details for enlargement. And then I'm going to go and we're going to walk this up gradually. So I'll go to the height, and it's approximately 3.5, so maybe I'll make it 4, and I'll hit Command Shift I, and we'll bump it up to 4.5. So we're gradually just bringing this up a bit until we get what we want here. Again, image size, and after 5, and so on till we get to 6.5. Now I'm going to copy and paste that image into the composite we started. Command A, Command C, jump newly made file, Command V, and I'm going to save that. And we'll call it Ciderland. And we're just going to move this so that we get that tree on the right hand side, kind of like this. The bottom half will be blank and white, but we've got other files that will compose the rest of this afterwards. So I'm going to close out that Ciderland. I won't save that. And if we take a look at what we've got now, put them side by side, you can see we've got our composition started. Now I've got the tree a little bit off to the right, and that's just a compositional choice. When something goes off to the edge, cloud on the left, tree on the right, the implication is that the view that the person looking at this file would feel is that this picture is much bigger than the confines of the 8.5 by 11. So these are just basic design things you've probably acquired along the way, so we'll just apply that as well here. So we'll hit Command S to save. Now that we have the sky in place, we're going to create the dirt surface down below. In the tutorial file provided, you'll see ciderdirt.jpg, and we'll open that in Photoshop. And in this one we're going to create a somewhat seamless pattern. And the way to do that is I'll first duplicate the layer by hitting Command J, and then I'm going to go to Filter, Other, and I'm going to choose Offset. And if you start to drag this, you'll see that it, let's say if you set it, say, for 480 by -500, you're going to see a cross section. And what's happening here is the offset is allowing us to make a seamless perimeter around the edge of this. So if we drag copies of it, they should go together pretty well without seeing a box shape because of value differences. So I'll go ahead and I'll click OK once I've set it so that I see that cross section. And I want to go in with my Content Aware tool and kind of blur these lines that I'm seeing and play with the values a bit. So I'm going to put another layer on top of that. Now I'm going to hit J on the keyboard, and it's going to take me to the Content Aware tools. This one is particularly the spot healing tool. It looks like a band-aid with a selection behind it. And I'm going to go ahead and set my brush size, maybe about 200. And then I'm going to right click and maybe I'll make the hardness, I don't know, 25. This is all subjective, just as long as you're playing with these tools and see what they can do. Now, make sure that once you've done that, your mode is normal, and then also that sample all layers is there, so that we can go down through this protective layer and draw the content up. So I'll just start to kind of brush along these lines. And then if I wanted to, I might go in and make the brush a little bigger, and I'll just go in and kind of break up where I can, anywhere that I might feel there might be a pattern generated. And I'm staying away from the edges of the document. Okay, now I'm ready to put this into my file. Now I could have gone to Command A, I could have gone to Edit and Define Pattern, but we only need about 3 of these across the bottom because of the size of it. So I'll just copy paste this. With it selected, I'll go to Edit, Copy Merged, and I'll jump over to my file and I'll hit Command V to paste. And now I'll move it down to the bottom. And I'm going to kind of drag this off to the edge a bit. And then holding the Option and the Shift, I can drag another copy. And then I'll just kind of seam these. As I said before, we could have then generated a pattern if we needed a really large area of this, but we don't. So 3 copies of this will be adequate. So just line them up by eye. And now I'll Shift select those 3 layers and hit Command E, and I'll name it Dirt. And then with my Move tool, I'll put it down here. Next, we're going to put our grass line across the seam where the background image meets the dirt. You can see here where that rabbit is. And we'll go out to our folder, and we're looking for a file named cidergrassline.jpg. And I think all we need to do is copy paste this into our composite. Command A, Command C, Command W, Command V. All we need to do is go across the top of this with our brush with a soft edge and a layer mask. So I'll put my layer mask in, hitting B on the keyboard. I think I'll set the hardness, I don't know, maybe 25. And make sure black is on top and the mode is normal, opacity, flow both 100. And maybe I'll reduce the size of my brush for a moment here to about 250. I'm just going to knock it off at the top so it's very soft. And you're going to see that this will kind of work pretty well because we're going to be running a filter over the entire background element, and so that it integrates in with the illustrative quality of the composite. So if we look closely at the grass here, and not so much in the dirt, but you'll see that it's been rasterized here to a certain degree with posterized filter. And we're going to do that to all of these, so we've got some room for forgiveness and fudging here. All right, so I've got that kind of soft there. Maybe I'll come around and knock out a little bit here, because we're going to need another copy of this across the other side. And I'll just start to knock it out here at the dirt line. And that's going to be okay for now. I'm going to get my Move tool, and just to kind of confirm where I'm going with this, I'm going to change the values of this. I'm going to add some hue and saturation to this, but I'm going to go first for a blend mode, and I'm thinking perhaps pin light looks like it's going to work pretty well. So once I've got the pin light, I'm going to move the grass up above the edge, and you can see that you can pretty much integrate that dirt line pretty nicely right down at the edge of the grass there. If you go too far, you'll start to see through the lighter values of the green. So if you stay just above that, it should do a pretty respectable job. I'll get my brush and maybe I'll clean up a little here. And all I'm going to do now is go down to the black and white cookie. Let's go to hue and saturation. We'll pull some of those greens out that are a little bit brighter there because we changed the blend mode. So I'll just reduce that saturation a bit. I guess I'll make it like -15 should be good. And if I needed to, I could even lighten it a bit, so maybe I'll do that as well. Make sure you click on the white box at the bottom of your properties window here so that you don't affect the entire document. So that's looking pretty decent. Now what I would like to do as well though is I would like to have one on the other side. I'll select these and merge them down. And you'll notice that when you've done that, you kind of lose the blend mode. So let's go back and introduce that. There we go. Kind of like that should be good. And I'll hit Command J, Command T, and I'll flip it horizontally. And I'll move that across to the other side. Now, we don't have to worry. It's kind of a cheat here. we don't have to worry about a seam in the center because the bottle is in the middle of the comp. And you can see it's kind of blocking where that might have shown through. All right, so once I've got that copy, I'll just kind of rough that into position. And I'll just merge those two down and save. So we've got the background roughed in pretty well. The next thing we'll need to do in the following tutorials will be to deal with the bottle itself, creating roots for it, and then the branches on the top.